Magandang araw, Podmates! Howie Severino muli, kasama ang isa pang matinik na Pilipino. Pilipina actually. Isang inventor na estudyante pa lang at nakamit ang prestigyosong TOYM Award para sa mga batang Pilipino. She is a fourth-year college student sa DLSU University studying mechanical engineering and already a TOYM awardee, the youngest in her batch of awardees. Ladies and gentlemen, isang virtual applause for Ms. Angel Palma. Magandang araw sa iyo, Angel, and congratulations.
Magandang araw po, Sir Howie. I am so excited to be in your podcast. And hello, everyone.
Thank you for joining us. Angel, you got this award, no? Yung TOYM. Actually, originally, it stands for 10 Outstanding Young Men. Kasi when it was first set up, it was just meant for young Filipino men, no? But in the last few decades, so many women have gotten the award. Medyo naging anachronistic na yung original name ng award. So anyway, you got this award, among others, for your contributions to science and technology, and for particular, a latest achievement, your most recent achievement, yung isang invention mo. But I'll ask you about that later. Previously, science, technology, and engineering were considered a man's world. No? May ganun pa bang stereotype na hindi yan pambabae at may barriers para sa babae? Anong naging experience mo rito, Angel?
So I was in Philippine Science High School. I started in 2012, so that was 10 years ago. And yung stereotyping na STEM is for men, andun pa rin nung time ko. So talagang, although there were already encouragement from the industry na to have women in the field, syempre meron pa rin po tayo natatakot na mga babae na pumasok dyan kasi yun nga po pang lalaki daw and hindi bagay ang mga babae sa science and technology.
Paano pinaramdam sa iyo yan, Angel, sa high school? How did you feel na may ganung stereotype?
Well, first and foremost po, Sir Howie, 1/3 lang po kaming babae sa batch. So we are 90 students in a batch and then 30 lang kami. So 2/3 are men. So dun pa lang po sa fact na yon, parang mafe-feel mo na talaga na minority ang babae sa science and sa science high school and science and technology. So sa simula pa lang talagang namulat na ako na minority kami sa science and technology. But then, yung nangyari was nag-shift na din and nagda-transition na rin yung mundo natin noon. And mas nag-encourage na yung mga leaders, especially doon sa field namin na magkaroon ng mga babae. So slowly and gradually, dumadabi na po yung mga babae sa lower batches ko. So 6 years ako doon, nakita ko yung transition from 1/3 lang kami sa batch namin to nagfo-40 na, nagfi-50 na yung mga babae. And I think for me na higher batch na medyo na minority nga, sobrang nakakatuwa kasi talagang ini-encourage na nagkakaroon na ng social media calling, nagkakaroon na ng mga endorsement, advertisements, ng talagang pumasok ang mga babae sa science and technology. And yung experience ko might not be true today, not anymore, I think, pero there are still some na sa tingin ko, nakaka-experience pa rin lalo na sa mga fields ng physics. Kasi talagang kapag nakakarinig po tayo ng physicist or like scientist, ang unang mapasok sa isip natin is middle-aged man. Diba? So yung experience ko with women in science and technology is a little bit different from today, pero I'd like to share with you na when I started with AirDisc and my other technologies, I had meetings with middle-aged men. Tapos they were saying na parang, alam mo ba yung pinagsasasabi mo? Or anong basis mo? Like, asan yung data, asan yung testing, asan yung, kumbaga, na-feel ko noon na if I were a man, siguro hindi naman ako tatanungin ng ganon ka-sisi.
But also, excuse me, but could it also have been because of your youth, no? I mean, when you're talking to middle-aged men, I mean, baka ganun din ang reaction nila pag batang lalaki rin ang kaharap nila, di ba?
Actually, dalawa nga po kasi Sir Howie yung naging factor sa akin. Bata pa ako sa paningin nila, tapos babae ako in a world of man-dominated industry. So, parang naging ano ako na hindi ko, parang it came to a point na I also really had to research and rigorously study about my technology and the field that I was going into kasi dun nga po naririnig ko na alam mo ba yung sinasabi mo, alam mo yung anong basis mo, anong testing mo, ano yung ganto. Ang daming questions and I think dahil yon sa fact na bata pa ako and babae po ako. So,
Okay.
yung
Yeah,
challenges ko
yeah,
revolving around the fact that I'm still young and babae ako sa field ko.
Pero yung origins mo as a scientific-minded young person, nagsimula yan sa childhood, no? Nabasa ko na your father was an engineer, is an engineer, and you learned from him. Bata ka pa lang, nagtitinker ka na sa mga machines. Tell us about your childhood.
Yung childhood ko po, since youngest ako of 6 girls, and I think my parents at one point when my mom was pregnant thought that I was a boy na. Parang nagkaroon po ng yung dad. Feeling ko lang si dada, nagkaroon siya ng na i-groom ako or like i-expose talaga ako sa science and technology. And yung childhood ko po was more of staying at home with my parents after classes. And then since youngest po ako and yung gap ko sa sinundan ko is 6 years, usually po naiiwan ako talaga kila mama and bawal po ako lumabas kapag to go with my sisters kapag gagala sila. So ang nangyayari po sa bahay is si mama busy sa business, si dada usually is working on a project. Tapos ang nangyari po is naging sidekick ako ng dada ko. So since bored naman ako, wala naman akong magawa, yung feeling na nandyan yung data ko na may ginagawang project, he's working on another invention or yung basics lang na nag-aayos ng electric fan, ng radio or like appliances, household appliances. Andun lang po ako sa katabi niya na nanonood. And then, other than that po, bawal po kasi kami manood ng mga telenovelas. After news, after primetime news, it's either may screen time akong 1 hour and ang pwede lang po sa akin na mga pinapanood is science stuff like Discovery Channel, National Geographic, also K-Channel, tapos yung mga cartoons po na pwede lang sa akin or ine-expose ako is yung Little Einstein, Totally Spies, Dexter Laboratory. So talagang bata pa lang po ako, na-expose na ako sa science stuff. I remember, siguro around 7 years old or 8 years old po ako. Sa Discovery Channel po kasi diba, mayroong show doon na nagpapakita how things work or how a product is made sa isang manufacturing plant. Tapos I remember yung feeling na talagang nilulook forward ko yung show na yon. Kaya dun pa lang po talaga na, kumbaga, na-encourage na ako to take up science and technology.
Well, so na-expose ka sa tatay mo, naging sidekick ka, no? Sabi mo nga. So what was his line of work or was it just his hobby, itong tinkering with appliances and inventing things? Ano bang occupation niya?
My parents are in business po, pero yung dad ko po, it was his hobby to tinker, to make projects, to invent things.
And sabi mo nga, you would hang around with him when he was repairing appliances, electric fans, and so may pagka-handy woman ka rin. Kasi usually handyman, no, sa bahay or yung stereotype naman ng handy person ay lalaki, kaya handyman, no, may so kaya mo mag-aayos ng mga bagay-bagay sa bahay. I mean, usually, papel ng lalaki yon, di ba?
Actually, yung mga basics po, like pag-aayos ng electric fan, pag-ano ng light bulb, and pag-ano ng radio, marunong po ako nun. Like, tinuruan po ako. Hindi naman talaga tinuruan, pero basing from what I saw from my dada, marunong po ako. So, sa bahay po, since kami-kami na lang naiiwan nila mama, I am considered na lalaki. Kasi kapag may sira, pinapacheck sa akin ni mama. Tapos kapag hindi ko na kaya, si dada na. So talagang yung word na handyman, parang ako po yun sa bahay.
So, yung pag-iimbento mo ng iba't ibang bagay doon, were these academic projects or ginagawa mo lang to as a hobby? Paano ka nag-umpisa bilang isang inventor?
Nag-start po actually siya sa mga projects lang. Like yung Philippine Science High School, they have this yearly, kumbaga, in order to pass a certain subject, you'd have to make a project. So yung first ever project ko po was the rechargeable flashlight na pwede kang mag-charge ng phone. And yung goal ko po nun was for hikers na nagkakaroon sila ng dead battery in the middle of nowhere tas wala silang mapag-chargean. So I thought of having this product para 2-in-1 na siya. May flashlight ka na, pwede ka pang mag-charge ng phone mo. And it started with a baby plug lang, yung parang yung jack po. Yun lang yung starting na input ko. And then na-develop ko siya into USB na ngayon. Yung saksakan na USB. And this actually fueled me to do more projects. Pero yung motivation ko po wasn't because I wanted to really do it. It was more of because I needed to do it for school.
Na-intrigue lang ako dito sa yung concept mo ng rechargeable flashlight, no, for pag sa mga hiking trips, 'di ba? Malayo ka sa kuryente. But paano naiiba yung invention mo? Why is this an invention? Meaning ikaw lang nakaisip niyan.
I think at that time po, sir, with my rechargeable flashlight, we scanned the market and at that time, parang wala pang, if I'm not mistaken, wala pang nagre-release ng flashlight where you can charge your phone or may USB port siya. So kaya yun yung naging motivation ko na yun na lang yung maging project ko para din you recharge your flashlight using that and then yun nga po may USB port lang sa na in-install ako sa flashlight. So parang yung flashlight po parang naging power bank siya. In grade 10, we were again required to have a project and yung subject po kasi namin in grade 10 may research na kami eh. Parang prelude to research for senior high school. And then yung time na po na yun, I was thinking of creating something to fight deforestation. So the Airwave Oven that I had was a cooking equipment that used air as the heating medium lang. And then this oven, yung ano niya po, yung feature niya was you can use it using bicycle or pumps. Para yung naisip po kasi namin ng teammate ko noon is to focus on the communities in remote areas kasi sila po yung gumagamit pa ng logs for cooking eh. So yung fact na they use logs for cooking, they cut trees and then that effect has an impact for deforestation in their area. So, yung naging goal po namin is to create a cooking equipment na you can use using crankshaft or like bicycle or you can also saksak it sa socket in our houses.
Now, on to your acclaimed invention, tong AirDisc Cooling system. Now, you've described this invention as an accidental discovery, no?
I wasn't really, naglagay po ako ng copper tube nag-employ ako ng copper tube para lang ma-monitor yung pressure na nare-release na nung cooking equipment. And at the end of the copper tube, medyo mahaba po yung copper tube ko, around 1 meter yung nilagay ko. Kasi yung cooking equipment itself was already hot, pero I wanted to see if may effect pa siya or tataas pa siya. So, I employed the copper tube. And at the end of the copper tube, lumabas po doon, like maliit lang siya, halos mga 1/4 lang yung diameter. So, parang yung copper tube nag-act as expansion valve niya na. At the end of the copper tube, may lumalabas pong malamig na air. Tapos, at that time po, andun din yung dada ko kasi nagmo-monitor din siya eh. Every time that I do testing, I fabricate the Airwave Oven. My dad is very supportive. He drives me around. Siya yung nagsasabi kung saan machine shop papagawin, saang tao yung i-employ namin para gawin itong part na to. So he was also there. And sabi ko kay dada, ano to? Ba't nafe-feel mo ba to or ako lang? Ako lang ba nakaka-feel nito? Siguro dahil init na init ako, malamig ba talaga? So, inask ko siya, pinapunta ko siya, sabi ko, Dada, come here. Talaga, is this really cold? Or guni-guni ko lang to? Tapos sabi niya, oh, malamig. Malamig. Sabi ko, oh, malamig. Tapos doon na po nag-start yung ano ko na, parang, for me, it's more convenient and it's gonna be easier if yung lamig yung gamitin ko. And nung time po kasi na ipoproduce na namin ilo-launch na rin namin yung Airwave Oven, gumamit po kami ng isang compressor from a company. And then when we reached out to that company, phased out na yung compressor na ginamit namin. So hindi siya nag-fly. So yung sa AirDisc po, simula nung aksidente kong na-feel yung cold air na yon, I made sure na I was gonna use my own compressor. I was gonna design my own compressor. Kasi yun nga po, ayoko na umasa na mayroon akong product pero gagamit ako sa isang company tapos malalaman ko na phase out. So from there po, ang nangyari was I was still studying that time. And senior high school ako. So our schedule was more hectic since specialization na po namin yan sa Philippine Science High School eh. And in Pisay, we were all under STEM strand. So our only choices were physics, biology, or chemistry. And hindi po ako inclined sa biology and sa chemistry. So the safest and the most interesting strand for me was physics. So while I was doing academics, 5 days a week, I was in school. It was sa Philippine Science High School po kasi in Bicol. We were called interns. Parang doon kami boarding school. Parang may dormitory kami inside the facility, the compound, and we were there 5 days a week. We only went home during Fridays at around 5 p.m. Tapos babalik na naman po kami doon Sundays. Ang curfew namin is also 5 p.m. So Sunday to Friday, nandun kami. And on weekends, yun lang po yung time to spend with family, to spend with your loved ones, and also focus on your extracurricular activities. Pero ako, ang ginawa ko po nung time na senior high ako and nagkaroon na nga ako ng idea for my AirDisc was during Friday, yun lang po yung time ko with my parents. Like Friday nights, talagang walang anything, walang academics. And Saturdays, yun po, nag-crash course ako ng air conditioning, nag-HVAC. Pinag-aralan ko yung existing technology that we have right now, which is the window type and the split type. And then from there, I designed my own aircon, and syempre tiningnan ko rin po kung ano yung problema ng mga aircon natin ngayon kasi hindi naman pwedeng gagawa lang ako ng aircon tapos wala akong masasolve na problem. So from conceptualizing, nandun na po yung pumasok yung advisor ko, my research advisor. Expert rin po siya sa HVAC, especially in refrigeration and air conditioning. Very, very grateful rin po ako kasi talagang having no knowledge in air conditioning, pinaintindi niya sa akin, like, yung layman's term pa for air conditioning, ginawa niya yon. And actually, nakigamit po kami ng laboratory sa isang state college in Naga, which is BISCAST. dun po ako nakilaboratory para makita ko firsthand and mag-practical laboratory din ako kung how how air conditioners work talaga. So meron din sila kompleto po sila yung mga pag-aaralan mo yung condenser, yung evaporator, lahat. And very grateful po ako sa advisor ko kasi professor po siya doon. So may access kami sa laboratory. And then from there po, yun, medyo nahirapan ako honestly doon sa part na naghahanap na po kami ng materials. Kasi with the materials, I had no knowledge and nag-ano lang po ako kumbaga at first nag-trial and error kami based on research lang, yung mga theories lang, yung theoretical considerations lang na maganda tong copper. Number 1 ng copper for conduction. And kinailangan po kasi namin yun kasi yung principle ng AirDisc ko po is just using the same principle from Airwave Oven. It's just that tinatanggal lang namin yung init sa principle na yon.
Okay, balikan lang natin yung accidental discovery mo, no? So you were developing an Airwave oven, and of course when you cook you use heat, no?
Yes.
So napaka counterintuitive or napaka surprising siguro yung isang output nitong invention na to, yung dine-develop mo na appliance na to ay malamig kaysa sa mainit, no? But how did that happen scientifically? I mean, if you can explain it in a way that most of our listeners can understand. Paano nangyari yun?
For example, you have a container. And let's say yung container na yon ay puno ng gas molecules. Kapag ni-reduce mo yung container, yung volume ng container into half of its volume, nagkakaroon po ng siksikan kasi lumiliit yung volume niya. Instead of freely going around yung gas molecules, naiipit, nagsisiksikan sila. And kapag nagsisiksikan, nagkikreate siya ng heat. Just
yun ang compression.
to put it, nagkakaroon ng compression. To put it like in a real life situation, halimbawa meron tayong isang bus, tapos sabihin natin yung bus na yon is, ang capacity niya is 20 people. Pero nireduce natin yung size ng bus. So dapat 10 people na lang ang nandun. Pero sa size na yon na nireduce natin, 20 pa rin yung nandun. So talaga nagsiksikan yung mga tao na uminit yung effect. Yun po yung principle ko sa Airwave Oven. Nagkaroon lang ginamitan lang namin ng technology para magkaroon ng exponential heat. But basically, yun lang po siya na, nireduce mo lang yung volume ng container. And so, it produced heat. Nagkaroon ng mataas na temperature, nagkaroon ng mataas na pressure. Yung ginamit ko po sa AirDisc was, tinanggal ko lang yung heat nun. Kasi coldness is the absence of heat. So with Airwave, I employed a technology para magka-exponential heating. And the same technology po, ginamit ko rin sa AirDisc. It's just that I also added a device para magkaroon siya ng series of heat absorption. So parang inabsorb lang talaga. Sobrang lakas lang mag-absorb nung mga series of discs na nilagay ko and that specific device para magkaroon ng cold air.
Pag sinabi mong disc, anong itsura nito? Para ba mga plato yan? And then anong material to? I mean, earlier you mentioned copper tubes, no? So is copper one of the materials of these discs?
At first, in my first prototype, we employed coppers, like copper materials, copper tubes, copper disc, and everything. Pero when we calculated the price of the product, kung yun yung gagamitin namin, it was quite expensive. So one of my main goal was for air conditioning to be affordable to everyone. So ang nangyari po is I researched again, naghanap kami ng alternative, and yung nahanap po namin na alternative is aluminum. And aluminum is the second best material for conduction and heat absorption. So yung disc po, basically parang ganito lang siya. Parang ganyan. Tapos series lang na magkakatabi. Tapos may ano lang po siya, may shaft lang po siya, tapos umiikot po siya pa ganun. So yung ginamit ko po is para lumabas talaga na sobra-sobra yung init. So yung disc po umiikot, 'di ba? While because of the shaft, dumadaan po yung air, like series of molecules yung pumapasok sa sunod-sunod na disc, and at the end of the discs po, meron akong nilagay na device para mag 10 times yung coldness. Tsaka po mababalik sa room. So yung air conditioning ko po is just using air. Like yung hangin na po na nafe-feel natin ngayon, yun lang. Wala po akong ginamit na refrigerant. Kasi yun din po yung problem na nakita ko sa air conditioning eh. Yung gamit po natin na refrigerants for our refrigerators and aircons, ang 1 kilo po nun is equivalent to roughly 20,000 kilos of carbon dioxide. So very, very bad po siya for our environment, for our health, and anyone na who cares for our environment or for their health should be very alarmed by that number. So ayan po.
Itong refrigerant na sinasabi mo, this is Freon, no? I mean, we know Freon because it's also even in air conditioning systems in cars, di ba? Vehicles, ganun din.
Actually,
ito ba yung
sir, I'd like to correct kasi Freon is a brand name. So,
okay.
It's a brand name. So, I had one interaction with one of the executives of Freon. Tapos, nag-present po kasi ako noon. Tapos, ginamit ko po yung Freon kasi Filipinos know the word Freon and they associate it with air conditioners and ref na po, diba? After my presentation, lumapit siya sa akin, sabi niya, "Miss, can you change the name down na Freon? Kasi Freon is a company, it's a brand name. It's like Colgate for us for toothpaste." So,
okay, so you call it refrigerant?
Yes po. Chemical refrigerant. I think it's R1, yung gamit, may mga updated na po kasi, pero as far as I remember, R142 ata po yung common noong time na yun. So,
okay, I understand. So itong invention mo does not use any of these harmful chemical substances, no? It's almost pure physics, di ba?
Yeah.
Now, the way you describe it, no, parang you're just applying basic scientific principles, no, na parang pakiisipin ng iba, parang napakadali for you, no? I mean, bakit ikaw pa nakaisip nito, no? I mean, it's not like you spent years in a laboratory tinkering and inventing this thing, no? Pang the way you describe it, parang napaka simple, ano? Kasi you weren't even trying. So ang tanong din ng iba ay, bakit hindi ito naisip ng iba? I mean even theoretically, di ba? I mean if you're just saying to cool something, you create heat and then remove the heat through a process. Parang okay, that makes a lot of sense. I wouldn't know how to do it, no, but it just seems like there are certain natural laws involved there that are probably not. You don't need a doctorate. You don't have a doctorate. You don't really need advanced scientific training to know this, di ba? So bakit ikaw pa yung nakadiscover nito?
I think it's a factor po, sir, na in a fast-paced world that we live in right now, we tend to focus on advancement and developments using kung ano-anong chemicals and whatnot. That sometimes we tend to forget na it's not really bad to go back to basics, to use natural resources. So yung ako po kasi, siguro advantage din po na naging curious ako na at that time I was really young, na medyo naive pa per se, kumbaga, na for me anything was possible. And I focused more on employing what we have right now lang. Hindi ako gumamit ng chemicals kasi wala na po talaga akong doctorate pa. Wala rin akong alam sa chemical engineering on how to mix. Siguro yung basic lang since may chem classes kami. Pero yun nga po yung ano yung may nagtanong din na po sa akin na ganyan na bakit mo naisip to? So I think it was because of advantage is because of my youth na yun nga po endless possibility, lahat pwedeng mangyari, idealistic. Kapag kung gusto kong itong product na to, maghahanap ako at maghahanap ng way or rason para i-pursue tong product na to using the things that I know which are basic.
Okay, understood. So how do you compare this to conventional air conditioning? Kasi like yung amin, I could really make a room cold, no? Kung gusto ko, like freezing almost, where kulang yung isang kumot, no? Kaya ba gawin niya ng invention mo na talagang sobrang lamig or doon lang sa yung komportable o nababawasan lang yung init ng normal room temperature?
So yung testing po na nangyari, since it was a research project, kinailangan ko maglagay ng constraints. So yung constraint ko was 16 degrees Celsius. Ma-attain niya lang yung 16 degrees Celsius. Pero yung nangyari po was from 32 degrees Celsius yung room, like it's a studio type room yung tinestingan namin. Bumaba po siya to 16 degrees Celsius in an hour. And that was because naglagay lang ako ng constraint pa. And marami pong factors na into consideration since naging testing grounds po talaga siya kasi. So, yung 16 po, sir, talagang limit lang siya para lang may mailagay ako sa research paper ko, sa hypothesis ko.
Mm-hmm.
Pero, when, like right now that we're still developing the commercial type, pumapasok po siya ng 4 degrees Celsius. Tapos umabot na rin po siya ng 0. So, the possibility of having this technology in refrigeration, in food storage, in transportation is endless. Talagang yung testing lang po talaga namin ngayon was focused more on, testing ko noon with AirDisc was focused more on room air conditioning, window type air conditioning. And na-attain naman po, I can say, and yung mga rin po, witness nung testing ko can also say na lumamig talaga yung room.
So, you started working on this back in high school pa, no? So,
Opo, high school.
2018, yun nga, na-discover mo and then you've been researching and developing this. Since then, ngayon, fourth year college ka na, mag-graduate ka na.
Opo.
So, at what stage is this in now? Kasi medyo matagal na yan. And considering its possible impact and commercial value, kailan to mamamarket? Kasi baka yung ibang skeptics, no, na nakikinig sa'yo ngayon na kung napakaganda niyan, bakit hindi pa to nabibili? I mean, you make it sound so ideal, no? It does the same thing as a conventional aircon, pwede magpalamig ng kwarto, mas matipid, hindi pa nakaka-harm ng environment, no? Walang refrigerant, etc., no? Pero so it seems like almost a perfect invention, no? So why isn't this available in the market yet?
Actually, sir, we were supposed to launch nung May 2020. We have our first partner, which is based in Japan. Kaso po nag-pandemic. And I think up until now, closed pa rin yung borders ng Japan. And we had to, in the middle, like starting pa lang po yung lockdowns natin, we really had meetings na with them, pero virtually. And kami naman po kasi ng dad ko, talagang gusto namin is makikita namin or like personal namin makakausap yung magiging partner. Because it's hard to establish na ito partner ko to pero virtual lang yung usap. Parang it's more on traditional negotiating pa rin po talaga kami, like traditional way of doing business. And so nag-decide na lang po kami, both parties, na to postpone the launching and focus on still developing the product but in the Philippines na. So ang nangyari po is nag-pause muna kami sa launch date namin, and up until now we're working on the commercial product of AirDisc, and I can say na marami na pong improvements since then. Actually, it's very helpful po yung pandemic for us kasi marami pa po akong na-develop and na-improve sa product.
So this is an invention. So you have patented this.
Yes, it's under my name po, and it's patented in the US.
Okay, baka may ibang magre-react. Why did you have to patent this in the US? Do we have a system in the Philippines for patenting Filipino inventions, or do we need to patent our inventions in other countries?
We do have our patent office in the Philippines. It's the IPOFIL, and they have been very supportive of me ever since po. Pero at that time po kasi we wanted to patent it in US kasi after patenting it in US, final po namin siya sa Patent Cooperation Treaty, which covers around 150 countries. So that PCT, the Patent Cooperation Treaty, yung invention ko po is marirecognize ng 150 countries na akin yun. And including na po nun yung Philippines.
Okay. The way you're making it sound is it's potentially revolutionary, you know? So, makakatipid na sa kuryente, hindi pa makakapollute, and of course, so many people now are aware, they're conscious of the environment and not wanting to contribute to climate change, etc. So it's like a politically correct product. Makakatipid pa. It's a Filipino product, no? Are you sitting on a commercial gold mine? I know it seems like a very marketable concept. Is there a downside to this, or are you about to become very rich?
Sir, can I not answer that question?
Okay. Well, I'm just voicing out what many people listening to you might be thinking. Syempre, this started out as a hobby. All of a sudden, meron ka ng Japanese partner. You're patented in the US. You can license this. I suppose the answer is kind of obvious, no? Kung talaga matuloy yung pag-manufacture. Sabi mo lang, the pandemic just interrupted the process, and then lalo pang na-improve. So I suppose pag dumating yan sa market, not just in the Philippines, but other countries, di ba? And if it's true to what you're saying, itong mga advantages niya over conventional aircon, mabibili yan, no? Mabibili siya.
Yung another advantage actually, Sir Howie, is gumagamit lang po siya ng 150 watts na energy consumption. So comparing it to our conventional ones na window type, 1,500 yung average. So you're saving up to 90% of energy consumption for your AC. And just a little background kung bakit nag-decide ako na talagang mababa yung energy consumption niya is nung bata pa po ako, talagang hindi ko po alam kung kami lang or it's also true to other families na kapag nag-on ng air conditioning system sa bahay, halos dapat kung sinong gusto magpalamig, pumunta na doon sa kwartong yon. Kasi my mom has this mindset na mahal sa kuryente yung pag-aircon. So kapag umuuwi ako ng bahay, naglalakad lang ako, naglalambing ako sa nanay ko kung pwedeng mag-aircon. Sinasabi niya, doon ka na lang sa kwarto ni lola mo para dalawa na kayong mag-aircon. So, yung goal ko was for me to have this aircon, for me to push through with this aircon, gusto ko affordable siya. That's why it's the 150 watts. But to answer your question about like me sitting in a gold mine, ano po kasi ako, Sir Howie, scholar ng bayan. Philippine Science High School is a funded school siya ng taong bayan. We exist because of the taxpayers. So, na-instill sa amin yung value na we should always give back to the Filipino people. So, if mangyari po yung talagang projected timeline that we have right now, my main goal is to give back to the Filipino people.
Well, that's very noble of you, no? And I didn't want to embarrass you with that question, but I'm sure there are people listening who are probably thinking that, no, na napakagandang device ito. It can potentially replace eventually conventional air conditioning systems, lalo na yung expense sa aircon, hindi lang yan nasa isip ng nanay mo, no? That's a reality. I mean, everyone who has air conditioning in their house knows that, di ba? But there's nothing wrong with profiting from your ideas. I mean, it's very noble na, coming from your background, you're a scholar ng bayan. I totally understand that, no? May mga scholar ng bayan din sa pamilya ko. But being able to profit from your ideas is also an incentive for creativity and inventiveness, di ba? So, wag naman natin tanggalin yon na you can profit. I mean, I'm not talking about being greedy. Now,
Yes.
if you profit, you can become a philanthropist and give back to your high school if you want, no? Pero we also want to encourage young people to be creative so that they can also earn a living, diba?
Yes.
So anyway, I understand where you're coming from. No?
Actually, sir, with my invention, with my story, marami-rami na rin po akong nakita na talagang nag-pursue na rin ng science and technology field. Like, interacting with students from all over the country. May mga tao po na nagme-message sa akin na hindi nila na-realize yung value ng science and technology up until nagkaroon ng talk yung school nila about it. So, yung sa Filipinos po kasi, ang nangyayari sa atin, marami pong inventors dito. Maraming creatives, kumbaga, kung sa intellectual lang naman, meron po tayo nun. Ang nangyayari lang po kasi is, yung mga brains na, yung Filipino brains are being, kumbaga, natitake for granted natin since we don't have that much of resources than other countries. Like, may study po ang DOST na nagkakaroon tayo ng brain drain just because Filipinos would opt to go to other countries kasi for greener pasture. And we can't blame them, but yun nga po yung parang nagiging calling ng mga scientists sa bansa natin is to give importance, give due recognition, due funds, and everything just to support Filipino scientists and their creations. To encourage more people to go into science and technology and actually be kumbaga, maging puhunan ng bansa natin. Hindi yung lalabas ng ibang bansa para lang ma-recognize at ma-acknowledge.
That's a very admirable sentiment, Angel. No? I want to ask you though, saan pa pwedeng lumaban ang Filipino inventors? Anong klaseng field? What is ripe for inventing? Ang daming problema sa mundo, di ba? So inventions are often solutions to problems. That like
Yes.
your AirDisc cooling system, it's a solution to expensive air conditioning and toxic refrigerants, no? Pero what needs more attention from Filipino inventors?
I think having Philippines as an agricultural country, siguro yun po yung dapat pagtuunan natin ng pansin kasi yun yung meron natin ngayon eh. And we are rich in agriculture. And I've seen projects kasi nagbabrowse rin po ako sa IPOFIL, yung patent office natin. And I've seen projects na patented that can actually help the agricultural industry in our country. Pero I'm not sure if yung project na ba yun ay nagamit na or magagamit ba ever. Maraming mga proyekto, maraming mga inventions na pwedeng sa Pilipinas lang pwede natin sana pagbigyan ng pansin ng gobyerno na pondohan para din naman sa atin yun eh. Like, para magamit siya ng mga farmers natin, ng mga fishermen. Pero yung nangyayari po kasi yun is nasa shelf lang siya. The thing with patent is patent lang siya. Yes, it's yours, pero unless you make it something na physical, kasi yung patent po is you're patenting your idea. Pero yung product itself, if it doesn't go out in the market, it's useless. Tumataas, increasing numbers po yung patents natin sa Philippines, and it's because yung IPOFIL is nag-adapt din sila sa online patenting and stuff, and nagta-transition din sila into encouraging students, encouraging anyone to patent their inventions. But until then, if you do not, kumbaga, maka-crossover ka dun sa idea mo lang siya, it won't help anyone. Very, very, very sentimental ako dito, Sir Howie, sa pagpapatent and pag talagang ipupush through na ilabas sa market. Kasi I've experienced firsthand to struggle with finding funds and grants. When I was working on AirDisc, it was my family's money or loved ones' money that we funneled into the project.
Yeah, para silang venture capital. I mean, di ba? Ganun yun eh. You have startups are founded on good ideas, and then you attract financiers.
Yes.
With the hope that they will benefit or earn money down the line, di ba?
Yes.
So, pero tama yung sinabi mo, it's not enough to be an inventor. You also have to be an entrepreneur if you want to roll out your product eventually. So, ang advantage mo, Angel, is you have this idea, but you also come from a business-minded family, di ba? Yung parents mo are business-minded people, yes. So they knew how to, they know how to manage money, basically raise money and use money to make more money. So ganun yon. So parang maganda yung partnership nyo, no? Yes. But I want to ask you now, kasi you're graduating soon with a mechanical engineering degree from De La Salle University. You have this reputation. You have, even before graduating, marami ka nang na-achieve, no? But ano yung career ambitions mo?
Yung career ambition ko po, yung 5-year plan ko, graduating from De La Salle University and starting up my company. And like, fingers crossed, kapag na-launch na po yung AirDisc, I'm gonna go back to school and actually study business ad kasi I don't know anything about business. So, ayun nga po yung sinasabi mo kanina, sir, na if you're an inventor, you should also know how to sell your product and become an entrepreneur. So for me po, hopefully everything goes well with launching, with the manufacturing and everything. But I'd like to also go back to school to study business so that I can know terms. I don't want to be left kasi po sa technical stuff lang. And syempre, kailangan kong malaman what's really going on. Mm-hmm. Kaysa nasa laboratory lang ako.
Well, sounds like a good plan. We want to thank you, Angel, for your time today. But we hope you keep inventing and keep thinking about how you can improve the world and solve its problems. Good luck in your career. You make your parents proud and you make the nation proud. Mabuhay ka. Angel Palma, inventor and mechanical engineering graduating student. Maraming salamat.
Thank you po for having me.
Hi, I'm Howie Severino. Check out the Howie Severino Podcast, an original
for GMA News and Public Affairs. New episodes will stream every Thursday. Listen for free on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and other platforms.